Welcome to the Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
The Church of Mavis radio show, Friday nights at 8 p.m., 7 Central, starring Jeffrey Pritchett with his co-hosts Wham and Jay McNicholas, right here on the United Paranormal Radio Network, UPRN 107.7 FM, New Orleans.
Hi, I'm Brittany Ashley, your host of Breaking Norms, Building Dreams, your guide through this transformative journey in both business and life. This is your place crafted for dreamers, doers, or anyone who has been told they can't. Get ready as we challenge those narratives together. You're tuning in live to the United Public Radio Network, airing on 105.3 and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. We are streaming on all the popular platforms every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join me for a candid and thought-provoking conversation celebrating your unique journey because you are worth it.
This is the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans and 105.3 in the Gulf Coast. UPRN talkradio.com.
Are you ready to explore the unknown? Dive into the world of the strange, mysterious, and unexplained with Eerie Expeditions magazine. Each issue is packed with spine-tingling tales, cutting-edge paranormal investigations, and exclusive insights into hauntings, cryptids, UFOs, and more. Whether you're a seasoned investigator or just love a good ghost story, Eerie Expeditions magazine has something for you. Join our growing community of truth seekers and adventure lovers. Subscribe today at EerieExpeditionsMagazine.com and unlock the secrets of the supernatural. Are you ready? That's EerieExpeditionsMagazine.com, where the
Agency is built for those who move like predators, decide like weapons, and execute like their life depends on it. You're either fully in, or you're invisible.
You're listening to UFO Undercover with your host, Joe Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
Well, you drove out there into the middle of nowhere and had some sort of loud verbal display challenging ET in general out in the middle of nowhere?
That's what I was doing. I actually had a pistol in my hand at the time. I was really ticked off. When I was having this fit, I was waving the gun in the air, okay, and I had this fit. And at this moment, I said, okay.
He was a Louisiana man named Montaldo. Folks around called him Six Gun Joe. Worked with ICAR, don't you know? Investigating UFOs. Out for a drive with a gal one night, they stopped to check out the reporting site. When an alien lit right there on the ground, commenced to throwing his weight around. Now, old Six Gun didn't take too kindly to that kind of thing, especially without Vaseline or anything like that, Seriously. Well, Six Gun looked that critter right in the eye and said, "Any last wish before you die?" Yo, reached for his gun, quick as a twitch, and said, "Fill your claw, you son of a bitch." Now, a legend spread across the land about this pistol-waving man. But if you're from space or from Earth below, you don't give no lip to Six Gun Joe.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you, Eon, for that song. That's a great song. I always loved that song. I always had so much fun listening to that song over the years. It was actually meant to be it's actually meant to be cruel and a joke. And I turned it into the theme song of the show, which the guy is still, even to this day, like, "Damn, Joe, you still using it?" I said, "Yes, because it's a good show." Why can't we got weird? Oh, sorry about that. We got.
I can't find it.
I don't know what's going on. It was all screwy when I came in. It was maybe it's down here. Okay, that's not rounded edges. This must be rounded. What the hell was that? Well, that's where it's supposed to be. It's just supposed to have rounded edges. That's somewhere else, I guess. Anyway, guys and girls, welcome to UFO Undercover. I hope you're having a good morning, good afternoon, good day, good afternoon, good morning. We're going reverse, good night. It doesn't really matter, but I hope you are on our big, beautiful blue planet having a good time today or tonight. Well, this morning, sorry. It's just in one of those things. I know, Claire, it's screwy. Jay and I'll figure it out as we're going. Well, because different hosts screw with the things as they go along. Because there's a lot of hosts that are single. I don't mean single as in single. I mean as in single on their show single. And so they get to screw with the thing. But when I'm by myself, I like it to take up the whole screen. Yeah, I really do. But when you got a co-host on, like Doomsday, you got to share. Yes. Wow, you heard about that already? It's not something I can talk about on there. I'm sorry. You can ask me in a text message or something like that, but I can't discuss it. It's in-house station business. Sorry, guys. Y'all some nosy son of a bitches, aren't y'all? Anyway, welcome to UFO Undercover. We got a lot to talk about tonight, a lot to cover. A lot of UFO cases, a lot of abduction cases I want to go over. I was on Paranormal NL yesterday as a guest, and we were getting into some stuff that I had actually forgotten. But, over the years, I've seen so many cases over the years that it gets confusing. So, but on another show besides that one, I was on a show in New York a couple of days earlier. I'm talking to the guy, he's challenging me. I said, "Well, we've got about 134,000 cases." "Oh, that's no way. That's impossible. How could you have that many cases?" I'm like, "Really, dude?" He said, "Yeah." I mean, he said, "Come on, MUFON's got like 5,000 because MUFON's a bunch of backwards assholes." I said, "That has nothing to do with us." I said, "Let me put it a different way. We got 134,000 cases. At one point, our membership was up to 64,000 people. Now, that would only be 2 cases per person." I know, huh? Whoa, that's too many cases. Because you're ignorant. Even if it was at 30,000, it would only be about 6 cases per person. So I just wanted to bring you the bad news that, you need to pay attention to how you ask questions. Oh, and we've been around for, 26, 27 years. And it's not like we just started yesterday. Clara, that is true. We're going to probably change the name of the organization. I haven't even had time to re-up all the directors. I got some stuff I got to finish up with the station, and then I'll be donating most of my time to iCart for a while. Well, somebody asked me just recently, one of the old directors asked me just recently to change the name because of all the people that, with the exception of me, are either dead or retired. Well, 3 of the founders have passed. Yes, we just lost one, Jason Wilson, just recently. He was a good friend of mine. I hated to see him go. He was a pain in the ass, is what he was. But he was a good friend. And we lost DeAndrew a couple of years back. David, her husband, had just recently hit me up with text with his number on. I wanted to call him, and now I can't find out where it went. It's somewhere in the midst of all my computer shit. So, David, if you're listening, please send that again to me. And I'd like to talk to him. David and I were friends, but Dee and I were very close. She was with me from the day of the founding. She technically was my conscience. And I mean that sincerely because, I did a lot of rewriting of cases, which we're going to talk about. But, so I'm on this case yesterday. I know I'm jumping around on y'all, but so I'm talking to Paranormal NL yesterday about this case, Caroline. And this morning I get a letter from a general. Don't get me wrong. I've done testimony for other places, so it's not surprising, but it had nothing to do with that. It had to do with the Betty and Barney Hill case. So back in the day, when Barney was alive, they knew 3 colonels. 1 that lived with him, 2 that lived on the base that were personal friends of his. Now, I don't want to make a big deal out of it. Colonels make a lot of money. They have a high standing. It's not
one level from general.
Yeah, I mean they are 1 level below brigadier, so it depends what branch you're in, but brigadier for the Army.
Brigadier's the first level, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what it was for the Air Force, but it's something like that. But anyway,
yeah, I don't know.
So these 3 guys, were 1 was living with him, and 2 were friends of his. Now, I mean, wow. I mean, that's not an easy thing to do. And then with all of that going on, he also got to go to the White House. Now, remember, ladies and gentlemen, this was an interracial couple in the 60s.
Yeah.
Okay,
in New England, of all places, a very, very bleach white community at that time, and probably still.
And there had been lots of racism against him, and they got invited to the White House. For what reason? He was a postman. So did he only get invited to the White House because he was a biracial couple? I don't know.
No. I think it had something to do with what he did in the Army.
Yeah, I think it was because he was an abductee. So somewhere when he was a child, he probably went and seen a psychiatrist. His parents probably brought him to see a psychiatrist because he said he was seeing aliens in his bedroom and shit. And they probably took him to see a psychiatrist, and that psychiatrist probably sent in some reports on where they got waived by one of the security agencies to make him to watch him. And that's what they started doing at that point. And we can get into that later in the show, but that's kind of how he got to be where he was and how these people got to know him. I mean, you just don't go around making friends. And I'd have to check, Claire. I don't know what he served in service, and I doubt he was very high ranking. He was a postman when he got out. He's a postmaster, actually. I don't want to sell him short.
Yeah, I think he was Postmaster General for New Hampshire.
Yeah, so he was a very well educated man. He was a very well spoken man. I know people.
He was also a social worker and civil rights activist, so he's probably invited for the civil rights activities he was.
Maybe so. Maybe that's what it was. He was.
I'm trying to find it. I'm looking up their bio right now on Wikipedia.
Yeah, he was a very interesting character, and he was also an alien abductee. And y'all don't start with me about his wife, Betty. She was not an abductee. I don't care what anybody says. It's too late now anyway, because she's passed and there's no way to prove it. But most of what I have heard proved it to me. Well, I interviewed her once a long time ago, before Jay was even born. And,
I doubt that. We're not that far apart.
I was like 6 or something. I was after. Oh, there, really? Anyway.
If you were 6, then yes, okay.
Anyway, so I interviewed her. This was not long before she died, and then one of her friends, her name starts with an A. I can't think of it right now, but We talked about her many times. Matter of fact, she got really mad at me one night.
Her
because I
sister-in-law,
told her.
I think it is who it is you're thinking of.
Well, no, that's Kathleen Maldron. No, because her niece, her aunt is Kathleen Maldron. That's right.
Yeah, her niece. Yeah, it's her niece that you're talking about.
But this chick came at me a couple of times. She was like, "Well, it's not." I knew her real well, Joe. She was an abductee. I said no, because she started getting into all of this stuff after Barney died. All
a lot more after
he weird
died.
Stuff going on with her. So when she describes what happened to her originally, it doesn't even sound like the aliens were interested in her. They only seemed like they were interested in Barney. What are you talking about, Christopher? Aliens don't give a shit what color you are. That's a damn racist comment, but you're lucky I don't kick you off my network for that. No, really, that was kind of racist. They don't care what color you are. They don't care if you're why, because black people don't report them. Well, first off, black people only make up 13% of our country. So I don't know how many, what the percentage is, but I personally know several black people that have reported it. 2 black people that were pretty famous that actually came back and asked me to take everything down. Craig Jacobs was having a hard time getting a job because all of this stuff. This son of a bitch, every time he walked by a scanner, it set off some code, and it would give him a different code every time he'd go by. I mean, it was some kind of chip in him, and it was seriously set off, which made me think it was a government chip, not an alien chip, but still, the only reason they'd give him a government chip is because he was being taken by extraterrestrials.
Yeah.
Well, ET don't really give chips. That's some old wives' tale. I don't know who started that bullshit. Dave, what's his name?
But it seems to me that they also got some alien information from the MyLabs.
Well, yeah,
From the MyLab, that is where she got the information on the Zeta Reticulus system.
Well, so what happened was we're going to get into, we might as well talk about it. So we'll do the first one tonight. So in Canada, this is where they went on vacation because they lived right up the border. Was it Connecticut?
New Hampshire.
Anyway,
New Hampshire is where they lived.
So they leave, they go on vacation in Canada. They get in their car, drive along, get in Canada. Before we didn't like Canada like we do today. But anyway, so they get up in Canada, they go on vacation, they check in their hotel, they stay at their hotel, they do whatever they did in their hotel. They got up in the morning. I said that because I don't know what they did in their hotel. I don't just because they were in a hotel, I mean they had sex, goofus. Anyway, they were in their hotel. They got up that morning, packed up, did their stuff, went and checked out. Remember, in the old days, you had to check out. It's not like today with the fancy throw your key in a box shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Today, you can just do whatever and check out. You just go online. I'm out. Back then, you actually had to go check out or you got charged for another day. They went and physically checked out his hotel, turned in the key. Remember, they had a real key back then. Ooh, a key that went in your door, click, click, click. So they turned in all that stuff. So then they decided they were going to go have breakfast. Well, they went and had breakfast across the street from the hotel. Okay, so under hypnosis, they could not remember the name of the hotel or the restaurant, which is really odd because if they had actually been there, they would have remembered the name. Under hypnosis, that would have came out. The fact that it didn't come out suggests that something else went on, like the alien abduction. So later in the hypnosis, you find out that, yes, it's exactly what went on was the alien abduction. So when you hear him talk about this, it's a real fear-mongering kind of thing. It really scares him. And Betty don't seem to have that. Barney does. But now remember, they're talking to him about the start of their vacation. They were in Canada. They weren't in the United States. So when they get to the United States, when this other stuff is going on, Barney describes all of that different than what he describes the alien abduction as. The alien abduction was an entirely different thing. They were taken, other things were done. So I've said this 100 million times. They didn't know the name of the hotel. They didn't know the name of their restaurant. They left. They asked for directions. Okay, they stopped their car physically. Barney asked for the directions, which was a young, black, nice cop, tall and thin.
Betty saw a big, fat, red-haired Irishman.
Betty said she saw a typical fat Irishman with red hair. We're talking like she made a thing out of it, like ginger red hair, like on Fox. I mean, on Doctor Who kind of stuff. But anyway, okay, so here's two people in the same car talking to the same person and got totally, and I mean
totally different answers.
So, I mean, Irish people are usually white to start off with. This guy was black, and they were white. And one's got red hair, one's got dark hair. I mean, one's tall, one's short, and fat, one's tall and thin. I mean, come
One
on.
has a mustache, one doesn't, and things like that.
I mean, who
there's
the
another
hell?
anomaly. There's another anomaly you've forgotten to pick up on as well. Betty frequently talks about, and when you see her hypnosis videotapes and the audio recordings of her recanting this under hypnosis, you can hear the pain that she's feeling. She recalls a very, very long needle going into her navel, and it hurt. And she said something. She thought she said it in her mind, but she must have said it out loud because the person doing the injecting touched her forehead and the pain went away. Aliens wouldn't use a needle. They don't need to. They have these devices. Plus, their mind power, they might not even need an x-ray machine. They could probably go with their mind and look inside your body and be like, oh, there's cancer, right? They don't use a needle. We do.
What it sounded like...
amniocentesis back at that time, at least not out to the public.
Well, at least not in the public. So what it sounds like is Barney had most of the stuff done to him. For the most part, Betty was being held in another room. And then she was released to go sit out front. Now, remember, the whole time she's sitting out talking to the big-nosed person, he was telling her, he handed her a book to read. Now, everybody talked about, Betty talked about it was a big book, hardcover, big, thick hardcover book. We're talking like this. And he hands her the book to read. And then he pulls down the pull-down map, okay, the extraterrestrial that across fucking cosmos, pulls down his pull-down map and points to where he came from. All right, people, give me a break here. Do you really honestly think any extraterrestrial that can cross the cosmos is coming with a pull-down map? I mean, shit, we don't have pull-down maps. We're not going into space with a pull-down map. Oh, Elon, can I put that pull-down map in there so we can... What the people? Now, they might have some kind of hand pad they keep in case whatever power they lose, but they ain't got no freaking pull-down maps, and they ain't got no paperback books. We don't even know if extraterrestrials even read books in the way we do. That's a big thing. I mean, they probably read off of a pad.
Or they sleep on a printed novel and wake up in the morning knowing the whole story.
Yeah, or I was going to just say, or they just scan it, but...
Yeah, it's something simple and easy and quick.
I doubt they have any real paper left in their societies.
Oh, yeah, paper's definitely dead.
So I'm just kind of thinking, and then now remember the first time she told the story, she didn't talk about what Jay was talking about just now. That was the second time she said she had something done to her. First time she said she just didn't do it. Now I love this map because this was on a pull down.
Mm-hmm.
So where's the point of origin?
Well, that's the hard part. But this system as it is, the point of view is about where the arrow, Mike, if you can you see my, oh no, you can't. Let me go to that page so you can see my cursor. The point of origin is probably, where line of sight is probably from here. This is Earth. We're looking at Earth from behind the Zeta Reticuli system. So the reason why we couldn't find this map originally is because these systems weren't discovered then. This entire set of planets was unknown to science in 1961 when she allegedly saw this map. And it wasn't until the 80s, and I don't remember who it was, but it was a female mathematician or scientist who came up with a map or not a map, but a computer system that was in the Apple IIes that we had at the time in 83, 84, that this computer program would extrapolate where these stars were in the galaxy, and then so they did that with a hand-drawn thing that Betty Hill had drawn, and this is the star system that came up.
Now remember what Jay just said, the hand-drawn sister drawing, which actually was these three stars is what she drew. Earth was not in the stars.
Yeah.
So there's no way to know those stars where they were.
Right here.
So without the point of origin, it's useless. So you can find 3 stars like this. I mean, this is a big galaxy. I guarantee you, I can find 3 stars like that anywhere.
Very, very
When
possibly
you pull
so.
back, when you pull back
One
and
fact
you
that,
look
that
at the amount of stars out there, I'm guaranteeing you I can find 3 stars like that.
but it's kind of a coincidence, don't you think, that she hand draws the very map of the solar system that the grays that are on this planet claim to be from?
No, not see. That's the thing. None of the grays I know say they're from Zeta Reticuli. They say from the other side of the galaxy. So
Well,
this
there's
is
one
not
set
the
of
other
grays
side
that
of the
say they're from
galaxy. This is
there
on our
that
side of the
started the war with
galaxy.
the Anunnaki years and thousands and thousands of years ago. But they also claim to have 2 or 3 planets that are under their control on one star system, Zeta Reticuli 1, and I think Zeta Reticuli 2, they are in possession of or control 3
And
planets there.
to make it worse, there are no planets in the inhabitable zone around those stars.
Yeah, and the other weird thing is, if that's where they're from, why do they only control 2 planets on one star and 3 planets on the other star? Shouldn't they have total control of all of the planets in their solar system?
It
If
would
you're
be
a
nice if-
galactic species, you would have at least control of your home solar system and complete control of basically everything in your purview.
Yes, that's true. But it's like Zeta Reticuli is funny to me because if you go with what's group, they say it's a Greys. If you go with the Sumerian group, they say it's reptilians. If you go with the other group, they say it's human. So
the one group says that it's the Pliharans, or what we call the Anunnaki.
So it's the problem with all this is one, you can take a large map and find 3 stars on it anywhere.
Very
so when
possible.
you look to the side of this, when you can't see it, but when you look to the side of this, so if you go all the way to the bottom, there's a star right there where it's named, then there's a star up to the left, and then the star that's already in the right is that star can be used too. It makes the same map, but just from a different area. That's the problem with this map. There's no way without a point of origin, and she didn't know what the point of origin was.
Well, I agree with you without having
Remember, none of this was talked about originally in any of the hypnosis.
No.
Matter of fact, what we're talking about, the Zeta Reticuli, was not in the hypnosis. So that's something she came up with later on.
Or UFO researchers interviewing her gave her.
I gave it to her. So that's the real problem with that. So, well, no, Carolyn. I mean, unfortunately, you're talking about a big sky. A lot of stuff.
And there are ways to question people that suggest to them answers that weren't there before. Police use those tactics.
Besides that, if you look at the one on the left, the one Jay's got on the left over there, the one that's the furthest away from the group, that is very near Earth. I mean, very near. James Webb so go straight down. No, just straight down. That's it right there. Keep going. That's Earth. Now just go straight down from Earth.
That's Gliese.
That's it right there. So that's very close to Earth.
That's
James Webb would have picked up.
Well, this is Tau Ceti. It appears to be, it's a lesser magnitude of brightness, but it also appears to be close. And it's 82 Eridani. Oh, sorry, this is Sol right here. This is where we are. It says Sol. I didn't see that before. I thought this was a dead center. It's not. This is Sol. So from Sol, we go straight to Zeta Reticuli 1, Zeta Reticuli 2, Alpha Mensae, and then going from Zeta Reticuli 1 straight back towards Earth, 82 Eridani, Tau Ceti. So these are the 2 closest to Earth, 82 Eridani and Tau Ceti. And we have
all of these planets, all of these solar systems are well within James Webb's telescope suite. So far, they haven't found anything that would make us think. Remember, they have found planets what they think may be life on it because of industrial stuff or because of oxygen or other things. There's no planets so far that showed up in these systems. And not to say if they're an advanced species, they couldn't block us.
And if I may give a brief history of these 2 stars here, again, like I said, this whole region really wasn't scientifically known. Gliese is a more modern name. It started with, I think the Gliese names started with the NASA programs, Mercury and so forth. But Zeta Reticuli 1 and 2 were completely unknown in 1961. They weren't on any of our star maps, and we didn't have telescopes in outer space, so we would not have been able to find them without deliberate looking. But in searching for, I had always heard of a war in space, war in heaven, war between heaven and hell, etc., and so forth. But I'd also heard of a war between what are known as the Anunnaki and the gray aliens, and that the gray aliens had approached the Anunnaki on their home system, which I think is Zeta Reticuli 1 and 2, where they were in control of 2 or 3 planets on each solar system. The Greys came in pretending to, like the wounded duck theory, pretending to be an injured species, needing help, looking for charity. And so the Anunnaki said, okay, we'll help you if you let us have some of your technology. Kind of what's happening with Earth back in the 50s. They said the same thing to Eisenhower. Well, let us do this and we'll give you technology, which was bullshit. Pardon my French. The Anunnaki soon found this out too and began fighting against the Greys, and they were at a time more powerful than us technologically, and they were able to actually, affect them in a way where they could destroy their ships. They could fly through their, keep up with them in space, at least as speed-wise. And like I said, because they were in control of 2 solar systems with 3 to 5 planets on both that they were in control of. Now, I think this is where the Greys came in and then devastated the Anunnaki system and then took over their controlled planets. And that is what today, going there to these two star systems, you would probably find a Grey society occupying somewhere between 2 and 7 planets.
Well, the top planet, or the middle planet, I should say, according to the Greys and the contactees, that's where the Browns live, the ones the cleanup crew lives.
This one here?
They control 3 planets. That's where the cleanup is. So one planet is strictly where they bring in all the waste and they process it. The other planet, there's one planet that they actually live on, and there's another planet they use for something else. But they're supposed to be the cleanup crew for the entire galaxy, not just for the Greys. They're cleanup crew for the council.
Yeah.
And the council is supposed to be huge. So when you hear people talk about the council, so they always talk about the 12 or 13 or 15 people that sit on the board downstairs, but they never talk about the 15, 20 million that are surrounding them in the dome. It always amazes me that they always dropped it out. That's why it's on such a big planet.
Yeah. Well, and they also don't, we don't realize the expanse of how many species and how many planets are in the auspices of this galactic federation. This,
I think when the war was going on, and the light beings modified the Greys, I think once they actually seen the light beams in action, everybody was like, "Screw this, we're gonna die."
Yeah.
Because for them, it would be like Picard versus Q. You're not gonna win that war. You're gonna lose that war. You're gonna lose that war in a big way. I mean, they're just gonna blink you out of existence. So that's not a war you even want to get into. But they talk about it, and the Greys talk about it, and the reptilians talk about it. They talk about a massive war that engulfed probably 10 or 15,000 worlds, at least that many species, and they talk about it in great detail. And then they talk about this race that came from a different galaxy that brought peace to this one. And they said, according to the Greys, the only reason the light beings brought peace to this one is because they watched theirs be completely and utterly destroyed. So what you have to look for now is the closest dig galaxy to us. That's probably where the light beings came from. Or the light beings came from the Sagittarius galaxy, the one we're eating right now and have been eating for 100 million years. So they could have came from there. Because everybody always wants to know how they cross the distances. I don't think the light beings have a problem crossing distances.
Maybe they didn't have to at that point because.
But if they were in Sagittarius, that means they were here. But
if they're in Andromeda, it would be a moot point anyway, because in 50 million, 500 million, so whatever the number is, we're eventually going to collide.
Yeah, we're going to collide with them too. But I think in all fairness to the light beings, they can just blink and be wherever the hell they want to be. So I don't think there's any stopping them. They're a very omnipotent super race. One day and they've said it themselves that one day The reason they worry about us is one day we may be like them because we have now reptilian DNA, gray DNA, and human DNA, plus whatever our DNA is. So they do think one day we will become a being of light.
Well,
I mean, we're talking 100 billion years from now, probably, but
if
still.
you're wondering where the experiments began, I was looking at the human evolution, our branch of the tree, if you will, the other day, and I've been wrong. I thought the breach or the missing link, the gap between our history was in the between Homo erectus and Homo habilis. We're fairly certain, most of the UFO researchers, maybe not most of them, but 3 or 4 of them that I know, plus I forget who said it, I just recently heard it, they're fairly certain the reptilians or the Anunnaki, whoever got here first, started with Homo erectus, started messing with our DNA. I think it was Giorgio Tsoukalos who said it. But anyway, I've been saying that there was a million-year gap between our evolution where there's no transitional evolutions. That was between Homo habilis and Homo erectus. I'm actually wrong on that. Homo habilis and Homo erectus are actually cohabitate at the same time frame. The difference is that Homo habilis, or able man, handyman, is only able to use simple tools, like you tie a rock to a stick, you got a hammer. That's how simple they are. While Homo erectus uses flint and napped rocks that become sharp to turn into an axe. So you tie that same rock to a stick, it's now sharp, it's an axe. It's a much more advanced tool. They also have advanced housing. Homo habilis, again, lives in dirt, buildings, and trees, and in caves they find. Homo erectus builds its own fortifications, but near the shore, they build their houses like Joe's on stilts so that the water doesn't knock it over. So they're at the same time frame. Where the million-year gap is actually where the Lucy things begin. Lucy's like 3.4 million years ago, but whatever the most recent one is, I think it's not Australopithecine, but that's what Lucy is. Somewhere before Homo habilis and the Lucy species, we began using tools. There's no slow progression. It's just there. But then you have two progressive species living right next to each other. One only uses the most simplest basic tool. The other now has advanced tools and advanced housing, and they live concordantly at the same time. Something's not stirring the mustard on this, no matter how you look at it. Somebody fiddled with the soup, and this was the result. Our species consumed the Homo habilis species probably within a few hundred years. And I don't mean consumed as in we killed them and ate them. We outbred them for one. We outthought them for two. We outfought them, outthought. And then at some points, we also worked with them, as we also worked with.
Well, that's what they think, the 3 or 4 races that existed.
It's more than that. It's Homo erectus, Homo habilis, Homo heidelbergensis, Homo neanderthalensis, Homo rhodensiensis. There's like 7 or 8, 9, all in Europe that coexist at the same time. And then there's 5 or 6 in the Asias that all coexist at the same time.
Yeah, they think they were all interbred. They're all
are really crappy ones. It's very strange.
They all bred. Well, no, not really, because when you think about it, in order to have a healthy population, 8 billion, had to have around 3,600, 4,600 to start. So none of these tribes were probably more than 400 or 500. So they just all interbred with each other, and eventually they came up with a healthy species. Yeah. And that it might be the species that aliens decided to use. They may have watched to see which one was going to dominate, to see which one, because they're probably, interested in who's going to make it and who's not.
Mm-hmm.
What species is going to be out there? Which one of us was going to be the dominant species? Because that might be what they were looking for. And we don't really know exactly what they were looking for. We just know that the Sumerians, they came, they talked to the Sumerians, and they created a race that eventually became the Sumerians.
Correct.
That's what they did. And the Sumerians wrote about what happened in the past, and they created that race. Well, that was great, but that race wasn't us. That race was the race before us. And there was no really interbreeding there. It was just genetically engineered new people. They just took the race that was there and used them as breeding material for the race that we are today. And even the race that's here today isn't all that much related to that one, because since then you've got grays, reptilians, and human DNA in our societies. And what's happened is in the early days you had, okay, those belong to this group belonged to that one, this group belonged to that one, this group belonged to that one. So the grays, when you looked at the grays, their DNA was close to them. The same thing with the reptilians and the humans. Those alien races were close to whatever that human race was. But along the way, the reptilians interbred with the grays interbred with the humans interbred back with the reptilians. So the race that's here today is much different. It's not even close to the original race. We've been crossbreeding with each other without even knowing it, not even on purpose.
But there's been several updates as well, RH negative and so on. So it's not.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of this stuff. So it's a different race all the way around. We're here and we keep doing it. We're still doing it. We're still interbreeding with each other, and the races is steadily changing. We're developing ourselves into something different the whole entire time we're alive, and interbreeding, we're developing into something different. Oh, Christopher, what I mean by interbreeding is the Sumerians had originally, I shouldn't say the Sumerians, but the human aliens had originally created their race that eventually the reptilians interbred with and created a mutant, which eventually that mutant interbred with the grays, which created another mutant. Then that person went back and interbred with with the humans, because remember, they don't know what they're marrying. You don't know you're marrying a reptilian alien abductee or a human alien abductee or a gray. You don't know any of that. You find that out later on. So your wife may be a gray, and you may be a human, and now you're interbreeding and having children. Those children are crossbreeding. They're going out and interbreeding with the reptilians. So there's no real way of knowing what the hell we actually are at this point. We're on our way to being a super race, not for a long time. And it's probably one of the biggest reasons they watch us is because we will one day be a super race. If
we'll know. I don't know how long it's going to take, but at some point our brain will get larger. Our skulls will increase in size. And at that point, is it going to grow this way? Is it going to grow that way? Is it going to grow that? The likelihood is going to grow backwards, like the elongated skulls species we found on the planet. But regardless of how it happens, in order for that to occur, even though it says we have that kind of power in our brain now, it's going to take a larger CC brain to do some of the things that the aliens do, as in like control a 40-foot diameter spaceship with just their mind.
Well, think of it this way, guys and girls. The Greys gave us an update, so the reptilians and the humans are pretty pure. They're not interbreeding with each other, and that's as advanced as they're getting. They're still getting older, and they're 700, 600, 800 million years old, and they're evolving, but the rate they're evolving is at a much slower rate than what we are. The Greys
they don't have the obstacles. That's the thing. What causes mutation? An obstacle. What caused birds to fly? They couldn't get across the chasm, and they kept falling and jumping and falling and jumping and falling until eventually they started flying. Mutations happen in that exact pattern. You must have an obstacle to overcome.
The Greys themselves were updated, so they didn't even have to have it. They were just updated.
Yeah, it was like down to their brain and body and what have you. But I mean,
so
we
now
don't have that technology.
Now we have all three of those races in it, plus whatever they originally started out with. So we have 4 races in us, whatever our original selves were, and these other 3 races. So we're being shortcutted. So whereas it took the light beings 100 billion years to evolve into what they are,
we're being fast tracked into.
Yeah, we're going to do it in half the time, which is still 50 billion years, people. I mean, it's still a long time, but still, if you're an advanced race living in this galaxy, and you know what's going on with us, you're going to want to keep an eye on us, because frankly, we could become really dangerous way faster than we become like. So in 100 million years,
because of what you said on that time thingy there, 50 billion years. I don't know what the time span or time life of our sun is. It's at least that. maybe more. But what if that's the aliens' timeline, is to get us to their level before our sun goes nova?
Oh, our sun. Okay, so I'll break this down for y'all real quick. Our sun goes red giant in 4.5 billion years, but in less than a billion years, because of the way the radiation is beating on our atmosphere, we will not have an atmosphere on this planet that we can breathe. So less than a billion years for us to get off the planet. It's now that may change because we may understand what's causing the problem. Well, actually, we already understand what's causing the problem. We just don't know how to fix it. But remember when they said the ozone was going to kill us? We figured out how to fix it, didn't we?
Yeah.
We actually figured out how to fix pretty much everything that's been trying to kill us. So
the
we don't
hydrogen
know.
engine was the thing that actually did fix the ozone holes in the ozone layer, because one of the byproducts of a hydrogen cell battery is potable water that you can drink, and O3, which is ozone.
Yeah. So does what are you talking about? No. So you mean what caused it? For the most part, spray hairspray cans.
CFCs, chlorofluorocarbons. They are now illegal.
It was much bigger than just that. Well, no, that's simplifying it, but there was more, because it wasn't just your hairspray. I love how they did that. They blamed everybody's hairspray on deodorant.
Your Aquanet is the reason we don't have a oxygen net.
Yeah, so it's so we they tried to bullshit it. We knew there was other big businesses out there causing problems to the ozone. They just wanted to blame it on us, because at the time they were saying, "Oh yeah, well that was fine," but you know what? Most of the people in Africa didn't even know what freaking deodorant was. Neither in South America, for that matter, either.
Hell,
it's pretty much an American Europe thing.
There's a bath that exists,
Did you know people at one time, the United States owned 88% of all the toilets in the world? Did y'all know that? 90% of all the hot water heaters in the world? Yes, at one point. Yes, because we invented them.
We invented all that stuff.
And Europeans were still crapping outside.
The airplane.
Yeah, we drug the Europeans kicking and screaming into the
Jazz.
and they bitch about it all the time. Yeah,
Well,
but we drug them into the
funny
future.
thing you mentioned that. If you talk to anyone from a foreign country, and I've been blessed to have met several people from all over the planet, the three things that they will all agree, almost all these people agree on, that America is great for or known for, is the car, the airplane, and jazz, and nothing else. We're not known for anything but those three items, and without jazz,
That's
we wouldn't have
food
rock
on
and
the
roll.
planet by far. Somebody told me the other day, they go, Joe, all the best chefs are in France. I said, no, all the best chefs are in New Orleans. I said, actually, them French chefs you're talking about come to New Orleans and learn how to cook. I said, most real chefs will do at least a year or two in New Orleans before they go out and find a job. He said, you're kidding me. I'm like, nope. I said, because whereas French have good food, I'm not hating on them. We have we were the original fusion food. I always hear about who invented fusion. No, New Orleans invented fusion because we were Creole and we were Spanish and we were French and we were British. And we just started throwing everything together till it tasted good, and that's what you get even today. New Orleans has got like 11 desserts to its credit, all kind of other foods.
Trust me, if no one has ever tried jambalaya, you must try it.
Gumbo, man. You gotta try gumbo. Oh, I love this commercial I seen today for this restaurant in Atlanta. Best gumbo in Atlanta. They actually won an award for it. Best gumbo in Atlanta. Underneath it says we're from New Orleans. It actually says we're from New Orleans.
Yeah.
I was like, well,
there's a restaurant. I don't know if I think the New Orleans branch has since closed, but there was a restaurant that's in New Orleans, Huey's, and they opened up a restaurant in Savannah, Georgia when I was in school there, and one of the key dishes was angel hair jambalaya. What it was jambalaya poured on top of angel hair pasta instead of steamed rice, which is what you don't normally put on. And they had shrimp in it. It had andouille sausage and whatever vegetables. And it was in a nice, beautiful red sauce. And let me tell you what, them andouille sausages burn on both directions, in and out. But it is
andouille is tough, man. Well, people don't realize a piece of andouille this big and sliced thin is all you need for anything. It's way potent.
These are thick pieces.
I mean, if it's made right, it's way potent. Actually, Jimmy, they usually take rice and put it in the jambalaya, and then it grows up and takes all its fluid out of it. Red rice, yeah. I mean, you can add any sauce you want to it, but usually they don't. It's just meat. Well, my family used to like to make squirrel and rabbit jambalaya.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And you can make it out of any damn thing, really, but that was their
Yeah,
favorite.
but is it trapped animals or is it shotgun? Because then it's going to be like 12 gauge shotgun shells also in there, which is
Oh
not
no!
bad.
So
But
we had a thing about getting the BBs out. One of the first things you learn as a kid is how to get the BBs out.
get the pellets
And,
out. Yeah.
oh well, my dad used to like to leave the squirrel heads on, right, when he made it, because he said it added flavor. I still remember the day my mom seen when that was it. There was no more squirrel heads in any jambalaya. There's no more of that shit going
sounds
on.
like the Christmas Carol movie where they burn the chicken. They burn the turkey, and then they go to the Chinese restaurant and they have a duck with the head on it, and the old man chops it off. Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, that was never happening again.
Oh, that's great.
Excuse me, Carly. No, actually, so anyway, getting back to the hills is what we were actually talking about before we got sidetracked. The thing about it is it's hard with the hills. It's like the dress. Okay, you're gonna go get a dress analyzed 30 years after the fact.
After the fact.
Okay, now they moved a couple of times.
No
The dress
chain of
been
evidence.
packed, unpacked, looked at, handled by numerous people, and then it become valid evidence. Okay, first off, it didn't have anything on it that would have been considered extraterrestrial. It was one of those things that I never understood why they threw it out there like that. It made it. The case has merit on its own. You don't need to try to add bullshit to it.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned,
can turn it into a lie.
Yeah. So I know they got upset when I changed the abduction to being in Canada, and I still don't even know why Kathleen Waldron got so upset. Oh, because she wrote the book. That's why. So it makes total sense to me that they were abducted in Canada, and then when they came home, they were MILAB. They were being followed. As soon as they entered U.S. territory again, this blimpy thing came down and got them, brought them on board. CDC did all their stuff, shot them full of good drugs, and sent them home.
Yeah.
And both times, going and coming, they were. And when they tell you black shoes, black pants, black shirts, black duckbill hats, I mean, what's the first thing you think of?
MIB.
Yeah, you don't think either that or any of the agencies. All the agencies,
CIA, FBI, you name it.
Yeah, all of them used, especially back then. So it was some agency. I don't know if the CDC
but they wouldn't
have.
Betty and Barney, if they had said that, they wouldn't have called them MIB. They would have said G-men. And I think, if I recall correctly, there's at least one or two times when Barney said they were like G-men.
Yeah, he did. On a couple of times he did. He didn't think. Barney knew the difference. Betty just, for some reason, didn't want to do the difference. But Barney knew the difference because he was the legit contactee. And whatever this was, scared the bejesus out of this man.
Yeah, he wasn't scared. He wasn't afraid of the men in black.
Well, no, John. So he was scared. What Jay and I was just talking about. First, he was scared by the aliens, and then he was scared because the government came and snatched him. And maybe the government threw him a bone with a visit to the White House because the government had taken him a couple of times.
Yeah, maybe so. Under the guise of a civil rights medal, because he may have gotten something. I don't know why. Why would you invite an unknown postmaster from some podunk town in New Hampshire to the White House? You wouldn't. Yeah. There's a reason he's brought there.
Yeah, I think they threw him a bone because he had cooperated. He may have even known about some of the MILAB stuff. Well, we call it military abductions because it's not. Okay, first off, technically it's not a military abduction. We don't know who it actually is. It's so if what I was told was true, and I'm counting on it because some of these people are pretty high up, they told me that what this was retired military, retired Boeing, retired Lockheed, people from these different jobs in these different parts of the military. They had been put into this organization called the Men in Black, and their job was to make sure whatever technologies we had were not falling into anybody else's hands, or not getting anywhere they want, and to track any of this anomalous UFO alien abduction stuff. Their words, not mine. And because of that, I ended up getting coined as the general in charge of all military abductions. Yeah, and all this because I said this on Coast to Coast one night. And the guy said, "Well, you know too much. You have to be somebody in charge." I said, "No, I'm not. I'm just a researcher." He said, "No, Joe, you could not know some of the stuff I said." He said, "You could not know." I said, "I have some people pretty high up, my friend." So I do have an outrageous high clearance, which allows me to talk to people. He said, "No, that can't be what it is. You have to be in charge. You're the one ordering." He said, "You should be ashamed of yourself." I said, "Well, I'll tell you this." I said, "I'll sure am a poor mother, blank and blank and blank. If I'm the guy in charge of this and I ain't getting paid for it." I said, "There's something wrong with this whole deal."
Right.
Then what really set him off was that I knew the Russians and different groups in Europe were being abducted by different people. So when people in Europe talk about an abduction, usually in Russia, China, France, Spain, Italy, they call them gendarmes. Like what they're talking about is the French police.
Gendarme, yeah.
So so that's what they were describing them as, is the French police. Of course, we know it wasn't the French police, but still. But it also showed that in different countries, it's not always Americans. Americans don't do all the abductions, all the military abductions, I should say. Even though whoever runs these groups have probably got somebody American in charge. What do you mean, Jimmy? I don't know. All we know is okay. I ran across Carla Turner's work by accident, or maybe it was an accident. I don't know. But I'm reading through this stuff one day, and somebody's telling me about these MilLab things, and so I go find her work. I start reading through the work, and I'm like, wow, this is just fascinating stuff. And I had quite a bit of stuff on her, still do somewhere. And so I'm reading through this. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna contact this woman. I want to interview this woman. Come to find out, as soon as she went public, she had stage 4 cancer and died.
Yeah.
Now her doctor said just 6 months earlier she was cancer free. There was no cancer in her body. Stage 4 usually takes a little longer than 6 months. Not always, but usually.
Yeah.
And
depends on the type, I think, too.
She was dead, so I couldn't get in touch with her. So I ran across Melinda Leslie, which I haven't talked to lately. We have to hunt her down and bring her on the show with us. And we started talking military abductions. Matter of fact, we got invited to Coast because we had taken up the military. We were matter of fact, still to this day, we were really the only real two that took up the military abductions, because we were the only one brave enough to do it. Because there is some negative connotations to screwing around with this. I mean, it's easy to get messed up. I've been threatened more than once. And but too, I say getting threatened, and I have been threatened a few times, but every now and then somebody drops me something out of that group.
Yeah.
Something. So yeah, just say, hey, Joe, I was looking for some evidence on these downloads, because having people telling you all the time about downloads is cool and it helps to understand. But a gentleman just come by one day, knocked on my door, said, hey, I got a vanilla envelope for you, handed it to me and left. Made me a little nervous. It's like, should I open this thing? Maybe there's some poison in here.
Listen for a bomb.
But I opened it up anyway, like an idiot. And there's like 200, 300 pages of classified, unredacted stuff about military abductions and who's doing them. And come to find out, my name was in that thing 60, 70 times. So was Melinda's. So was a couple other people's. And Carla Turner's name was in there, and at the top said termination successful. I was kind of like, so I got online that night and said, hey, if this is a threat telling me to stop, y'all need to make it a little bit more clear than this, because this seems like this is like, go for it, get out there and talk more about it. So what it did was it allowed me to get with a group of people that were being regularly MilLabbed, and it also allowed me to understand how they choose their military abductions, which wasn't all that hard to figure out, but still.
Let me guess. People who've had DNA tests.
Well, partially it was because So this is, I always tell people this all the time when they tell me about their experience. They tell me they want to go public. I'm like, well, if you go public, you're going to get mill labs. Because right now, they might not know who you are because you're just a nobody going through life. I said, but you get out there and say, hey, I've been this, this, and this.
Hi.
How you doing there? Such and such. You're going for a ride with us now. The main thing they like to do is they put a thing on you. It's usually a chip. And they know when you've been taken. As soon as you're put back, they'll come take you. We have had things where they've knocked the whole neighborhood out so they could come take you. Yeah, they just release some kind of gas in the neighborhood, puts everybody out, and they come take you. Yeah. Oh yeah, it knocks dogs out, kids out, birds out, everything. It just
even if it didn't knock the dog, birds out, who's gonna wake up under sleeping gas? Not many.
Yeah, whatever it is they're using is pretty sophisticated. Even though it was back in the day, so I imagine whatever they use today is even more sophisticated. A friend of mine told me nowadays they don't use the gas; they use ultrasonic sound that puts
use a sound wave.
Yeah, and it knocks you right the hell out. It doesn't affect the animals. I
can't say who, but I know who invented that, and it's still top secret, so I can't say who.
Yeah, it is still top secret. So, what do you mean? I got a lot of friends in the government. I got a lot of friends in what you would consider the men in black. I just because, how can I say this? So a good friend of mine works at Lockheed in Bowie, right? Well, one works at Lockheed in Bowie, so they can't really talk about that to anybody. So I'll get a phone call from time to time. Hey, you got some time? I'd like to chat with you, because then they can release this information to me, the real stuff, and not have to worry about getting killed because they already know I'm protected. I'm not going to say anything. And I've had people online doing shows cut into the show and say, hey, this is such and such, this, colonel, this captain, whoever, saying, yeah, you're okay. You're allowed to talk about some of this, but not all of this. And it's like a reminder every once, but I have been threatened more than once about talking about things I'm not supposed to. But like my friend at Boeing, it's just like Stevensville. I know I've talked about this a lot. After everybody went through the Stevensville case and told me what they had saw, I realized that this was not an alien craft. It was ours because it had rivets and it had chase planes. So I picked up the phone and called such and such. We're just going to call her such and such. And she's a scientist for Boeing who's actually in charge of the other scientist security. And so I call her up and say, hey, what are you doing? She said, what do you want? She said, you never call me unless you want something. I said, yeah, I got something. So I'm going to send you some stuff over my phone. So I sent her over the whole thing. And then Joe had made a whole conversation. So I sent the whole thing over to her. She wasn't even 10 minutes. She calls me back. She's laughing. She said, what do you need me for? You know it's an Aurora. I said, I know it's an Aurora. And she even identified the chase planes. She said, now it was scheduled to go all the way to George Bush's ranch and turn around and come back on the same track. And she said, there was a squadron of F-16s. Not a squadron. There was 16 F-16s in the air that night.
4 squadrons, isn't it?
So I'm kind of like, wow. And she said, nobody was diverted because it was ours. And it was ours. It was just a test flight. There's a lot of test flights. See, the problem for like stuff like Aurora and some of the F-117s is they're so fast that you can't. So in other words, you punch it, and the next thing you know, so you're in California, right? The eastern side of California. You punch it. Next thing you know, you're in the middle of Texas, and you're not even punching it out. You're just cruising. That's how fast they are. The TR-3Bs have been hit in Pensacola several times at Mach 12, Mach 14, just cruising. And they say it's cruising speed because it's not like they're pushing it; they're just kind of cruising along. That's what they.
What happens if they kick in the afterburners? Mach 24, Mach
whatever they got. Yeah. So and then I learned recently that our planes no longer have afterburners because they overheat the plane and make them visible on radar. So we have this new thing that the Chinese are trying to copy right now. The Chinese, they did a special on this the other day. So they have this new thing that you punch it and it just picks up on its own and goes that fast. There's no afterburners needed anymore. That's how advanced these new engines are. Just,
That
I'll even
could
tell you
be
what plane it is if y'all want to know.
that could be a gravity drive that does that.
The F-22 was the first plane to use them. F-35 probably has them in them, but the F-22 was the first plane to use them. And that we know of, okay? That's just public stuff that we know of. These things are so much faster than an F-22, it's not even funny. But we've seen these planes on several times that have been, it's like Senator McDonald. So I'm sitting at home one day, this is, Jesus, 30 years ago, 25 years ago, I think. I get a phone call from some guy. He said, "Hi, I'm Senator McDonald's aide. He's talking about what it committee. He's on the Military Appropriations Committee. You know, he's the one who signs the money out to everybody in the military appropriations." He said he was coming home the other night. And I said, "Dude, whatever, click. I'm not shitting. It's just what I did. Click." I figured I'd never call back. A couple of weeks later, I get a phone call back. Same person. I said, "Dude, what are you doing? I don't believe you." Click. So about a week passes. It's a phone call from, guy sounds old, grumpily, gravelly voice. He said, "I'm Senator McDonald. Please don't hang up on me. I want to ask you a question." Click.
Really?
So it's like, what the hell? And, so I mean, come on. What's the odds of? I mean, back then I was barely known. What's the odds of a senator calling me for any reason? So man, I don't know, about a couple of weeks passed, maybe been a couple of months. I hear at my door. I'm like, okay, I walk to the door, la, 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 and I look, and there's two guys in black suits, black Armani suits at that, and a nice shiny limousine. I'm like, shit, what did I do? I'm in trouble for something. And so the guy says, Senator McDonald would like to speak to you. I was like, whatever, I'm not getting in that limo. You're going to have to drag me kicking and screaming. No way I'm getting in this limousine. So the guy, somebody kicks the door open, and I look, and it sure the hell looks like the guy. So I'm like, all right, don't be stupid. I walk up to the car, and he said, look, he said, I know you heard about the black triangle I seen. I just wanted to talk to you about it. He said, let's go have lunch. I said, okay. So I get in the car, and we had lunch in the car. Somebody brought lunch to us in the car, which was crazy. Yeah. Nice. Steak and lobster lunch, champagne, whole 9 yards. So we're talking. He starts telling me, he said, I'm driving through New Mexico, and this black triangle just over my car, and my car goes. He says, what the? And then your car goes. He's like, I'm thinking, what the? Because he should know what it is. This is the guy that gives out the money for this stuff. And he's thinking, UFO, man, it's a UFO. And he said, and then somebody told me I should talk to you because you know a lot about these triangle things. And I said, and he said, then you wouldn't talk to me. I said, well, I'm really, Senator, I didn't think you were legit. I thought you were some bullshit. I said, what you saw was a TR-3B. I said, we build them. And he said, what do you mean we build them? I said, yeah, they're ours. I said, they're supposed to be really fast, but they're ours. And he's looking at me like, and we're talking a long time ago, people. This is, like I said, 25, 28 years ago. And he's still looking at me like, you're fucking stupid, boy. They're not ours. I would. Then he got angry. He said, Joe, if they were ours, I would know about it. I mean, they have to get the money from me. And I looked at him. I said, oh, you're talking about one of them $800 toilets and then $50,000 hammers, and you don't think they could pay for it?
You don't hammer a pop? Yeah, no way.
And he kind of looked at me. He said, well, I'm going to tell you what. He said, I'm going to check into this. He said, because I'm having a hard time with this. He said, but I heard you was an expert on this. He said, so I'm going to check into this because I'm in charge of the money. And if I found out anything, I will let you know what I find out. And I'm thinking, I'll never hear from this guy again, right? 6 months goes by, I get a door. Guy in black limos out there. He said, Mr. McDonald asked me to bring you this. So there's a white envelope with a letter in it and a big yellow envelope about this thick and about yay big. I'm thinking, what the hell is in this? I get this envelope. He said, I want to tell you thank you. He said, I can't mention how many people's asses I kicked and who they were because it's classified. He said, but I did find out you have a high classification, even higher than mine. He said, would you mind telling me what that's about? And then he said, open the envelope. I sent you a present. I still have it, by the way. It's a complete blueprint of the TR-3B.
Nice.
Complete. From bottom to top, from side to side. He said, I just thought you would have it. He said, your clearance is high enough to have it. So he said, I just wanted to know you were absolutely right. Come to find out they're always flying all over those and because I had told him he was more than likely in the no-fly zone, which when he checked out, he found out he was in a no-fly zone. I said they're always flying in those no-fly zones. I said because you can rarely ever see them. If you do see them, we just say, "Oh, it was a UFO."
Yeah. Well, I mean, the funniest thing about there was the mid '80s, mid '80s, early '90s triangle flaps over Belgium, and everyone's like, "Oh, UFO, 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 UFO," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's very interesting, but what if it turns out to be one of ours?"
Well, some of them were, I
We
think,
didn't have
ours.
the designation back in that. I don't think the TR3B designation came out until like at least mid '90s, maybe late '90s or early 2000s. But the same triangles were being seen over the no-fly corridor across from New York, the Dayton Wright-Patterson fly zone. There was a whole bunch of them flying over that corridor, up and down the Adirondacks and the Appalachians, all the mountains over here on the East Coast, and people were seeing these triangular UFOs, and they kept pointing off as UFOs. I'm like, sorry, people, it's probably one of ours.
Well, a lot of the triangles are ours.
Never was.
Now, the ones okay. So I talked with Mark Reich, I think is his name, RICH. He's an F-16 pilot working for NATO, by the way. Now, this is a long time ago. This is when the Belgian Triangle things were going on. So they're all sitting down having lunch one day, or actually dinner. He said, and the beep, beep, beep goes off, whatchamacallit alert. So 2 squadrons of F-16s were dispatched to go see what this triangle was. Now, people, this is how I know this one wasn't ours, okay? A lot of them are ours, but this one was as big as an effing city. We just don't have anything big yet.
There were a few that were legit,
yeah, so they come rolling up on it. That was 1, 2, 3, 4. I think there was 8 pilots all together. 2 pilots seen it. The other pilots didn't even see it there. Matter of fact, the main pilot said, "Stop, break away. You're about to run into the damn thing." And the guy said, "There's nothing here." He said, "Well, I can see it clearly. Back off. You're about to hit it." And he said he didn't believe him, but when he cut up to come back, he noticed the smoke from his trail hit it and kind of rolled back with him. It didn't pin it like it should have did. It hit something and came back. So he realized there was something there. And then NATO goes, "Should we shoot it?" And this guy's going, "I don't think we should shoot at this thing." He said, "I'm just thinking we shouldn't shoot at this thing." And
it's not ours. You don't shoot at it.
Going, but I don't know. It's inside of our airspace. So don't you think we should shoot it?
Not until it shoots first.
I forgot who it was. Whoever was in charge of it, the big NATO guy. The guy says, he comes on and gets on the mic. He said, "Tell me about it." He said, and I told him everything I could. He said, "Turn your plane around and get your ass back home where you belong." That's how he said it. He said, "You did not see that. Nothing went on there. Come home." And they got home and they told him, he said, "Sign this, tell me what happened, and don't ever speak about this again." The reason I found him is I was in DC at a conference when I met Edgar Mitchell and Buzz Aldrin. He came up after the lunch and said, "Hey, I've heard you speak a lot. I'd like to talk to you about this." He said, "I heard you talk to Senator McDonald about this." He said, "I'd really like to talk to you about this." And he said, "I heard you that big triangle y'all seen down in Tampa that was 2 miles by 2 miles by 2 miles." And this is estimation, people. The reason we say that is the island was 1.8 miles long and 1.8 miles wide. And this thing had covered the entire island in a shadow. You couldn't, I mean, it was bigger than the island. So we figured it was 2 mile wide, 2 miles tall, 2 miles long. Whatever this was not ours. It was big. And at first I said, well, maybe it's a balloon of some kind, maybe because, a blip, we might be able to make that big. It just did this number and it was gone. I was like, shit, that is not ours. And we're all out there. And here comes, and nowhere these guys in Jeeps come rolling up. We're like, we got the crap beat out of us. They took all of our equipment, kept us for like a week, didn't give any of our equipment back. And when they released us, we came out of a building in Tampa. We were on an island, mind you, where the Jeeps picked us up and took us down this ramp. And when we came back, we was in Tampa. I was like, they made everybody sign this agreement. I refused to sign it. He said, "It doesn't matter, Joe." He said, "If you say anything, they're going to come for you." I said, "Say what? Nobody's going to believe this crap." I said, "Look, I'll do a show right now. Nobody's going to believe it. They're going to be like, wow, Joe, that's cool." And they're going to be like, sure, dude. And here we are 30 years later. Ain't nobody believes that story. I mean, it's a great thing, but, without any evidence, which we had a ton of, I mean, dude, it's the first time I've seen all of us out there. And you know what was funny? Because a bunch of us had them old Polaroid cameras with the flashes on it. So it was like, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. It was crazy. No, they took everything. And then the funny part was a guy I had one like this that had a little mini hard drive in it. He just pulled it out and crushed it. And then he tells me, "Did y'all send anything to your computers?" I said, "Well, there's no uplink out here." I said, "This was before the cell phones. We had we were using some type of K5 sat phone is what we had with us, and they just crushed everything. And then he wanted to look on my computers. I said, "Well, you better go get it." He said, "I don't need no warrant." He said, "You want to be an ass? I'll just come destroy them." I said, "Dude, there's nothing on my computers. Don't you want me to take a polygraph?" And sure enough, they polygraphed us. And because there was nothing on my computers. I mean, I wish there was. I would be posting that shit even today, but it was a scary time. I mean, we were gone a full week. There was people who had called the police looking for their spouses, because we were gone. No one knew what happened to us. I remember when I got back, the police were like, "Where have you been?" And I told him. He just started laughing. "Oh, you must have been out fucking around." Ooh, excuse my language. Beep, beep, beep. Messing around with your wife or something. And I'm like, "No." And they're like, "Well, we don't believe you. We don't." "Well, where were you?" I said, "I told the guy 5 times where I was. He just would not, for any reason, believe where I was." So I just said, "F it." And I mean, there wasn't nothing they could do to me. So they just cut me loose. And then I got mad because I told them they stole all the stuff, because I made a complaint with the Tampa police. They laughed their asses off. I said, "Well, they took all of our equipment." They said, "Well, maybe you shouldn't have been where you shouldn't have been." I'm thinking it's a freaking island. Everybody used that iron glass swim, but you know what? I remember Christopher and Paul telling me, he said, "Joe, it's kind of eerie out here. We're the only ones on this really pretty island. There was no trees or nothing. It was just like a giant sandbar is what it was." And it was kind of eerie that none of us, because it was midsummer. It was weird that no one was on it but us. It was weird.
That's a very interesting story. It seems to me that the government likes to use UFO explanations to mask a lot of activities that they do, including what happened to you. I mean, they've done it throughout the years. They even did it with the SR-71s. The SR-71, if you were underneath of it while it's climbing, it would appear almost like a cigar-shaped UFO, and it would appear to be moving rather slowly or hovering because it's climbing up, so you can't see the speed. But once it leveled out, it would flash out and disappear, and people were seeing cigar shapes. Now there's some legit cigar-shaped UFOs captured throughout 50s, 60s, and 70s, but most of them are out of focus.
Them freaking long UFOs drove me crazy for I don't know how long.
Yeah.
I mean, because, I seen a big long thing cylindrical looking with a hump in the front. I seen with a hump in the bottom. I seen one with 2 humps in the middle. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? And then
let me ask you a question, Joe.
Good.
How good is your UFO history?
It depends what we're talking about.
Well, all right, here's the question. What was the first image of a UFO allegedly recorded in history? What's the photo of?
Wait. Okay, now, was this a picture taken or a picture drawn?
Picture taken.
The
first allegedly recorded picture of a UFO recorded in history. It's a long, long time ago.
Yeah, I'm thinking it was either what's his face in Seattle or I can't remember the other guy, because I mean, we got the ones where, of course, people drew them way back 500, 800 years ago. But I don't know. I don't know what the first one was. What was it? Tell me.
It is, I believe, the year 1895. I don't know over which state, but I believe it's Mount McKinley. And in the clouds, there is a cigar-shaped UFO that has not one, not two, but 3 on it. 2 on the top side and 1 on the bottom side near the aft of the craft or the front of the craft.
So those were just cool pictures. What are you talking about, Colleen? No. So what Jay and I were just talking about is the grays. We think it's the grays. The grays have these weird rectangular, sometimes they're round, sometimes they're kind of squarish, rectangular shape. But so sometimes they're just smooth, and then sometimes there'll be humps in them. Well, the humps actually are saucers that have landed on the ship. Yeah, they're probably scout craft or fighters or something like that. But it's very strange that it took forever to figure out what they were. Yeah, they're. I guess you could call them a mothership in a way. More like a carrier, I guess would be a better word for them, like an aircraft carrier. Yeah, that's really probably what they were. And they could have like 5 on top, 5 on bottom, which they could carry 10 of them. And we don't know if they had anything smaller on board. So it was freaky looking. And then even today we get reports of them.
I got it. This is the world's first, or the world's oldest UFO photograph, allegedly. I tend to agree. I should have set it to automatic, but here we go. Click. There it is. Now, look at this thing. I think you can blow it up a little. Yeah, that's the.
Yeah, you can also let me do it this way. I can make my screen bigger in here too.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's much better when I do
So there's
that.
the one hump there, and then this isn't the best picture. There's the hump here, and then there's another hump on this. I thought it was, I got it reversed, but there are 3 humps on this photo, and there's a clearer one that, oddly enough, comes on the Ancient Aliens show, and you can clearly see 3 typical, almost like the sports model. It's a tiered pie plate design, 2 on top or 2 on the bottom, and 1 on top, whichever direction it goes. But that is allegedly the type of technology the Greys use.
Yeah, it does seem to
creature,
be
allegedly.
Well, I mean, it seems just like it's a landing craft of some kind. Oh hell, I didn't even know we had comments going on. Hey, how are you? Hey, Mitch, I didn't even see y'all over here. I apologize. I just had the comments off.
I don't think the cigar shape is the landing craft. I think it is a carrier for the landing craft, and that thing just hovers in atmosphere.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's some type of aircraft carrier. It's like well, no, some of their saucers are like scout ships. They're fairly big. Not all saucers are small.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these saucers.
The ship that probably brought the cylinder here is probably so large that if it entered our atmosphere, it would evaporate our atmosphere. So
yeah, that's true. So
Jupiter and Saturn.
So this is what's weird about this, people. When you hear the Greys and the Reptilians, they talk about these square ships like a Borg ship, and then when they talk about the Greys, they talk about
what it is.
Yeah, they talk about these round ships that are as big as those square ships or even bigger, parked out near Saturn or Jupiter.
Posing as a moon of Saturn.
Yeah, they're big. No, they're big. When you say no, they're bigger than our moon.
They're larger than the gas giants Neptune.
So you know how big they are because when that camera got a picture of them. So NASA's funny. NASA gets a picture of these 3 square things, and it looks like there's some kind of energy field in between them. So NASA comes out and says, "Oh no, it's a flare in the lens." Okay, well, I'll buy that. 2 days later, another camera picks up the same picture. Well, wait a minute now, NASA. This is 2 different cameras here.
2 different.
You can't have the same type of lens flare on both cameras. So I'm like, okay. So then the camera that was supposedly got it the first time, which NASA said had been corrected and fixed, now had the same picture again. So it looks like they used the sun as some type of energy field to bring ships back and forth. Big ships, not little ones. Whatever these things are were massive. I mean, the fact that you could even see them, they look like an inch by an inch on the picture against the sun. That means they are massive.
So wait a minute. So they're using the gravity of our sun as a navigational guide to get here?
No, I think they're using the energy of our sun to produce a portal for long range. So we know they can do short portal jumps all the time. We see them do it in our space because we see portals crossing. So people, if you ever want to see a portal, go find a place where there's been a lot of activity. Like right here in Mississippi where I live, there's a Stennis facility not far from here. Well, there's a lot of UFO seen coming and going from there. Well, if you go lay out there at night and get on top of your car, usually between 8 and 10 p.m., you'll notice all of a sudden you'll look up after a while and you'll notice it's black, but there's no stars. And there's like a triangle shape to it or a big oval shape. But it's usually a triangle shape. And you're watching it, but it's moving. See, because you can see the stars all around it. There's no stars in it. And then all of a sudden you'll see like a dot head for it because this thing is massive. and then it kind of gets like a blue color in the middle of it, and whatever the dot was is gone. It's some type of portal, and we've seen them out there dozens of times laying out in the cars. You'll just see when they're quiet, they don't make any noise, and they're just black, black, black like the sky, and they'll just be moving along.
Is
Well,
the portal
crazy.
in our atmosphere or in
Yeah.
outer space?
Oh no, these are smaller. These are in atmosphere. They're not for ships like we're talking about, like the ones around the sun. They couldn't use these portals. These are portals made for like reptilian on Earth ships, like this ship we're looking at right here, or like the saucers. They're made for that. They're a quick jump to wherever their ships are at. It helps them to jump in and out of the area. And we know there's smaller portals because we've also got those on film. Those look like they're for jumping around the planet, like that one over the I'll have to go find it, but the one over the Blunt Island nuclear facility, over the facility, that's a crazy portal, but it's definitely a portal because not only can you see the shape of it, and you can see it because of the smoke's coming up, but you can see a ship headed for the center of it. It's crazy. I wonder if I can still find it. Let me see while we're talking. It's no, what's that? No, we'll have to get into abduction stuff next week. Oh no, because we're getting tight on time. What are you talking about? Heidi is an alien. I'm sorry, but she is an alien. Yes. Yeah, she's one of them human aliens. She just keeps the back of her head compressed. Oh, people, if y'all believe that story, I got some land for sale down here. I do. I've got some serious land for sale down here. No, I'm gonna pull that other picture up in a minute. It's on the iCar site. I'll grab it in a second. It's no. See, what he's talking about. When you look at this picture that's up there, one, you see this beautiful snow white cloud, but you can obviously see this black cylinder in it without any real efforts at all.
Yeah.
And then you can see the other three craft that are on top, which are saucers.
And the other thing, this type of photograph is going to be, since it's 1865 or 95, whatever year it was, is going to be of a daguerreotype photograph or a tintype photograph. I think it was taken in America, so it's probably a tintype, which means they had a silver nitrate chemical on top of a silver plate. And when they pulled the shade out of that, between the chemical and the shade, whatever the lens was focused on burned those images into a piece of metal. So it's nigh impossible to fake a tintype or daguerreotype photograph.
Sandy, no, iCar1.com. It's on here. We got tons and tons of photographs on here. Stuff that we've taken, stuff that other people have taken. Well, iCar1 was firstly admitted as a site. It was done as a site for it was like one-stop shopping. Yes, that's the best way to describe it. It was like one-stop shopping. What do you mean? No, that's what we were talking about with the hills. What are you talking about? The question don't make any sense. You mean for me personally? I've seen some stuff up close and personal, if that's what you're asking. I've seen some shit on you make your hair curl. That's why I don't go topless anymore, because my chest hair is all curly. Sorry, it was just a joke. Before anybody sends me anything stupid, it was just a joke. No, I'm looking for one of the ones on the iCar site right now that technically Jason Wilson, who's passed now, he took the photo. And he took it with a Canon camera while we were driving. So one of the things we try to teach people is where to look for UFOs. So if you're near a deep water channel or a nuclear facility, or like, see, this place had a very large national park. It had an Agus cruiser base. It had a big facility, and it was known for sightings. So the odds that you were going to see something there is very greatly increased. I know this picture's in here somewhere. Sooner or later, I'll find it. It's well, we got so much stuff in here.
Well, so an interesting thing with the ticker tape going on the bottom there is a question, who are operating the craft. So we say the Greys are operating this type of craft, and the saucers that attach to them. But how long have they been here? And what are we saying in the past few shows? 5,000, give or take.
Well, so the Greys, I don't think it all depends on. Okay, this is where it gets confusing. So this all depends on when history actually started. So we know because of the sunken cities off the coast of Cuba, they're 16,500 years old, at least.
At least,
16,000.
probably older.
So that puts, remember, the start of civilizations was supposed to be the Sumerians at 6,000 years. All of a sudden, here's a much more advanced civilization than the Sumerians, 10,000 years older. Of course, then we have the two sunken cities off the coast of India, which are around 14, 15,000 years old.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And wait, this city had running plumbing, sewage, all kind of stuff, flowing water, aquifers. So this is like a Roman advanced civilization or more.
Yeah,
That was wiped out long
Teotihuacan,
before.
it's the same type of stuff.
So that's where it gets confusing, because here we have stuff that was before the start of civilization,
Before recorded history.
So what do you do then? So now you have stuff that's older than history, but then history don't want to talk about it. Well, history has to talk about it because it exists.
Let's put that history into a time frame. If we're talking 16,000 to 20,000 years ago, that means humans are hunter-gatherers. We don't build cities. We don't hewn rock. We can't. The softest material, the hardest material that we can manipulate is probably flint,
Bronze.
which is like not even bronze. No, yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
But
you're probably right. It probably wasn't even bronze. Bronze Age was 10,000 years before that. So
yeah. So,
it's,
but the fact is that we didn't build cities of stone 16,000 years ago, or even 2,000. Let's go back 4,500 years ago.
I'm gonna pull this. Hey, Jay, drop that picture so I can pull this other one up.
The fourth dynasty of Egypt happens in 2,500 BCE. That's 4,000 years ago. We weren't really building with stone then either. Most of the cities were made out of clay and adobe.
So this is Blunt Island Power Plant. We were in Blunt Island, Florida, which is right down the road from the oldest city in the country. And not that far from Jackson either. So you look at this, looks like a peaceful little place, nothing great, some power plant going on. So even in this picture, if you look up to the left, you can see what looks like a dropa stone is what they used to call it.
You didn't put it up. I'll put it up for you. There it is.
Oh, I didn't. Okay, pull it up for me. Pop it up.
There it is.
Okay, so when you're looking at this picture, I mean, you can see the water cooling tank, the area where water cooling is. You can see the two towers, and off to the left, over the building, you see what appears to be a dropa stone. Mm-hmm. This thing is damn near as big as the building is, so you got to kind of wonder what it is. But you can barely see it. So when you blow it up, oh, here it is. There you go. So this is what's so creepy about this. You see the smoke coming out the stack, and you see the smoke being grabbed by this, and this is what's making this visible. The smoke right here is making this visible. You can also see a center circle in the middle of this thing. So it looks like
there's a pattern there that looks reminiscent of the saucers that detached from the mothership in 4th of July.
So this is pretty big, and whatever it is, it's interesting. I mean, you can see blotches where the smoke has now been going around. So it's something solid because the smoke's not moving through it. It's being held along the edge and on the bottom of it. So that's all cool. But if you look over here, next to this ring on this tower, you'll notice there's a little flying saucer or a little ship right there. It's on an angle banking, so it's banking for this center hole.
And what happens when you blow up that section of the photo?
It's what's pretty blown up now. So it's and we didn't even see this right away. And in this picture up here, you don't even see it. It's not there.
It's a pixel. Yeah.
So, but when you pull this one up, you can see it, and it's actually a decent size because you can see it's got two different things on it. And then and you can see it's on a bank, like it's headed for this circle over here. So this was March of 2004 with a Canon A60 in Little Marsh Island, Florida. The top picture is a full picture, and the lower picture is a cropped out of the picture. This is a cylindrical sphere. Nobody knows what it was. It was taken by Jason Wilson, which I told y'all earlier, who's a field investigator for ICRO. What it was. What is it, people? Coast to Coast has used just a couple of, because nobody knows. When you look at it, I mean, you can see the haze in the regular picture. So there's something there. This smoke is catching whatever this is, So the smoke's just coming out the stack normally. But this thing must be in a swirl movement because it's grabbing the smoke and it's spinning it all the way around the craft. Or whatever it is. Maybe it's a portal. I don't know what it is, people. But when you get down here, you can see it's big. You can definitely see the defined edges of it quite easily. I mean, the edges are very defined. You can see the smoke coming across the body, and then you can see another defined circle. And here's a craft. And here's a craft headed for that circle. You tell me what it is.
That circle is either a portal or another spaceship it is going to merge with.
Yeah, it could be a spaceship, and that could be a scout craft. It could be a portal. It's a big, whatever it is, it's pretty big. It's as big as this building right here. You tell me what you think it is, ladies.
I would say, Joe, if it was a portal, the smoke would disappear into the portal rather than go around it.
Well, it could be because it does have an edge on where the whatever that center circle is. It does have an edge there.
Yeah.
What it is, I'm just guessing, to be totally honest with y'all. What's that, Carly? No, I mean it's a very interesting picture.
Perhaps it's a cloaked solid device, a ring sort that, like, Stargate. I don't hate to.
Because let's be honest, without the smoke, you don't get to see this thing.
It wouldn't be there, yeah. So maybe it's a cloaked device that has a portal that it just simply circles the Earth, and when a scout ship wants to go into it, they just wait till it comes overhead and merge with it. Who knows?
Philip, when we took the picture, none of us seen it. No, none of us seen it. None of us knew it was there. None of us seen it. It's one of those things, and this thing is near a nuclear power plant. This plant here is not a nuclear; it's a regular power plant.
To make me believe it's a solid craft rather than a
and portal. Then right across from it is an Agus cruiser base, a big national park, and a deep water channel, which is always places UFOs like to go hide out at. So this thing, whatever it is, it's there. It's for everybody to see. I got lots of phone calls about it when we first got it, and people were like, "Well, y'all hoax." I said, "That's not a hoax. That's taken just by how well it was taken." And I said, "We didn't hoax. There was no reason for us to hoax it. Hell, we didn't. Like I said, we didn't even know it was there." So it's almost 20 years ago that this picture was taken. No one to this date has been able to figure out what the hell it is. I mean, I don't know what it is. It's most people are not going to be able to figure it out. What's that, Carl? I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I mean, you can look at it and see. You're looking at this power plant right here. You see this stack. You see this stack. And let me see something. Okay. This is where this thing is right here, but I can't see it. Can I blow? No, I can't blow it up on this screen. I don't think I have anything to blow it up. I'd have to put it on a different screen. I don't know. These are pictures here that were taken at different times. April 2001 with a high speed 35 millimeter. And there's another one taken with a high speed. This is Santa Rosa. This is Eglin Air Force Base. This was taken at. And this was taken at Santa Rosa, which is right around the corner from Eglin. This is actually a saucer we caught landing on video. It's landing at Eglin Air Force Base. See, there it is. Tells you even it's on a camcorder. We still have that video.
You have the video? Let's see it.
Yeah. No, I can't. It's on high 8.
Oh.
Yeah. If anybody wants to donate a high 8 to me, I'll use it. I don't think it was on this Panasonic. See this one? This one's got a camcorder. I mean, it's got a hard drive on the side. I think it was on my Sony high 8.
Well, you can.
Somebody dropped.
You should be able to find near you a video to CD or DVD transfer company or business near you. They can take that tape to them, and they can transfer it for you onto DVD or flash drive.
And then this thing right here is just weird. See the globe?
Yeah.
There's actually a radar tower underneath it. Them circular radar towers. There's one underneath that globe. It just engulfed it. We watched it. It looked like one of the things out of that spy show. It just came bouncing around and just engulfed the radar dome. Also taken at Eglin Air Force Base. A lot of weird shit goes on at Eglin.
Yeah.
It's well, remember, people, Eglin is a non-nuclear testing facility for the United States. All weapons get tested there unless they're nuclear weapons. I don't know. Oh, it's some alien shit. Okay. It's no, this is just stuff that this is all our stuff here. There's more than that hanging around in different places on different computers, but what is this video link? Oh, wait, is this still on here? No, I think these are dead links. I have to come back and check this stuff out. Oh, somebody's flare camera. I wonder why it's not where it needs to be, unless the link's going dead, which is possible. Yeah, well, no, these are all been up here for, God, this site's 30 years old. Yes, it's 30 years old, people. Ooh, abduction criteria. Look at that. Look at that. That's only 25 out of 100 we have now. Yeah, that's only 25 out of 100 we have now. I wonder why this did that. But these are all basic things. I mean, the person will notice they have lost time or gained time. So even back then when we posted this, we already were understanding about gain time.
Yeah.
It says 25 of our 50 up here. Now we have 50 of 100. Yeah. It's electronics seem to turn off or not work correctly when you're around them. Sense of being watched or followed. It could just mean you're paranoid too. Meeting strangers who say they know you.
Yeah.
So all of this stuff on here. So if all of this is you, and then you happen to be RH negative, it's a good chance you're an abductee. It's a really good chance. This was added later on, the contactee blood study. I guess I need to go in here and straighten all this out, huh?
Yeah, it looks a little kaflooey.
Strange facts about concerning RH negative. Oh, look at that. RH negative women and men display reptilian traits.
Tailbones.
I'm coming. Oh, look at the tailbone thing. Lower than normal blood temperature. Lower than normal blood pressure.
Yeah.
Higher mental abilities. Oh, people. So there's a lot of weird stuff in here. High sensitivity to EM and to ELF. That would explain a lot of crazy people. Hypervision in other scenes. Oh, man, here we go.
Senses, yeah. I tend to have very excellent night vision. It needs to be corrected by lenses, but I can't say that I see at night, but I do see at night better than I do in the daytime.
They have a strong sense of mission or purpose. More traits found in RH negative. They just keep on going. Green and hazel eyes that change color, also blue eyes. Reddish hair, brown, low pulse rate, low blood pressure, keen sight or hearing, ESP, dun, 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 dun. UFO connections, lost in space and science. I love space and science, sorry. It just, oh no, the list goes on, people. So all this was put up there originally because, just like I said, this was a one-time. It's supposed to be a one-stop shop. Oh, who's this asshole? Oh man, was that a baby there? Holy crap! Holy, look at this cute guy. He is so cute. Star Children. What is this one about? I don't know why all this is done. Then I'm going to go and check that out.
Yeah, it's all weirded out.
Yeah, oh, there's a UFO Undercover site. Oh, Valley Classification System. So y'all can use this if you want to know what AN1 is, AN2, AN4, AN5. There you go. MA ratings, FB ratings. What's that, Jeffrey? No, all this is good stuff. Like, well, these are easy. People should see all this other stuff y'all haven't probably heard of. This is research stuff, but like the CE1, CE2, CE3, CE4, CE5, that should be common stuff inside the field.
Yeah, they've actually added a sixth one to that now, to the Close Encounters rating.
Damn. There's a lot of stuff in there. I definitely need to go take a look at this site there. What's this? Oh, look at that. Whoa, look at this guy.
Who's that dude?
This guy is damn sexy,
And
man.
is that Bob?
That's Bob, yeah.
That's Uncle Bob.
That's Bob. Bob been around a long time, man. This is funny. I still had hair back then. Look at that. So this was right after I had dinner with what's his name? He had the alien skull.
Oh,
God, he was
Mitchell Hedges.
Who?
Mitchell Hedges.
No. He's the guy, Lloyd Pye.
The Star Child skull. Yes, okay.
Yeah, so Lloyd Pye had the skull. We had just had dinner with him a couple of days before this article. And we went to go, he brought the skull with him. The skull was super light and super strong. So if you grabbed it, like if I grabbed Bob at the top and squeezed, it didn't give at all. And it weighed like ounces instead of pounds. It was very strange skull. Definitely was not from us. This was a full page article, sweetie. Whoever asked that, yeah. They gave me a whole page in a Time Picayune. Yes. I know, huh? Isn't that something else? I know. What are we? Associates. Oh, look at all these associates we work with. Yeah, look at all these people. They still write articles about me. Jim Sparks, man. Let's click on Jim Sparks. No, I knew he was not around, bastard. Let's see. Who is this? Let's go see if they're around.
Close Encounter Research. Oh, they're not around either.
Tell you how many people can't hold. See, we're still here, but look, that's 3 in a row. Or either they changed their websites. Alien Jigsaw. I knew y'all were still around.
Mm-hmm.
The Alien Jigsaw. This was actually a friend of mine who passed. But then somebody else took it over. Yeah. Look how cute Stephen Bassett, man. Look at that. He's such a cutie there. Yeah, I know most of these people.
Steve Colburn, he's a friend of mine on my Facebook.
Leah Haley, I forgot about Leah. We're going to have to get her on.
Oh,
my God, the ugly guy. We're going to talk about him. Elaine Douglas, that's who it was. She was great to talk. She's passed. But, she really has a good information, but she's gone. Yeah, look at this idiot.
David Jacobs. That moron.
Yeah, David Jacobs, who has the same organization name as we do, ICAR.
Yeah.
Nadine Ladid, she was a lot of fun. Barbara Lamb was a lot of fun. She's not near as good a hypnotherapist as I am.
Roger Lear, I liked his research. He was the one pulling all the implants out of people, and then John Mack to diagonally to him.
Yeah, Dr. Roger Lear, and what was his name? The alien hunter guy? Daryl Sims. Look, Melinda Leslie. Experienced it. She's in Sedonia still.
John Mack.
Eve Logan was a lot of fun to talk to.
There's another
I think everybody on this list I've talked to. Hey, look, I know this guy. He's so cute.
Yeah.
I don't know who I don't know on this list. I think I've interviewed everybody that's on here.
Chris Lloyd.
Yeah, so far, Yvonne Smith. Yeah. Oh, Farrah Udoz. I just talked to her the other day. Voices from, I know all these people. What's that, guys? This is all stuff that, it was, hey, learn the truth. Can you really, Yvonne Smith? Look at that. She's still hanging. Or is that something? No, it's
something else. GoDaddyBrain.Dan.com.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think that's a dead link.
That's a dead link.
Yeah, we need to get ahead and do some cleaning, man.
Yeah. Another dead link.
Gosh. Oh, yeah. There's only 3 links in the work so far. Let's see who this is. Dennis. Oh, Dennis.
Dead link.
I missed Dennis Fallface. I don't know if he's still alive. I need to find out because he is.
That was not a working link either. Yep, no redirect.
So there's only 2 of them left in here, or 3 of them left in here. More. Yep. So people, just so you know, you see who's still around. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. See, we don't play, man. It's No, there's a lot of information on this website that you can go dig around through, and how much of it's still legit, I'll have to go look and see. I don't see Peter Davenport stuff, though. Go back to home. We used to keep Peter Davenport stuff. This,
Yep.
why isn't it there?
Can't be found.
Well, why isn't it not there?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm going to have to go find that. So anyway, this is the reptilian project that November Hansen did. And she wouldn't finish it because she got breast cancer. So 5 of our directors got breast cancer within a couple of days of each other.
Yeah.
And one of them passed away. The other 4 survived, but she had this under her bed, and she sent it to me to finish it. So we did, and we posted it. So I'm not sure why it's not up there. Yeah, people, can you even donate? The donate button ain't even working. I got to go there and have fun on this site.
Yeah.
I don't know why none of it's working, guys. Well, I have some idea why it's not. Yeah. iHeartRadio. Is this one even working? No. I think this is a site problem.
Check the iHeartRadio one.
Oh, no, this one's still up. Wow. This is 9 years ago. I don't know what's going on, people. We'll go check it out.
Try the iHeartRadio link. See if that works.
Yeah, it's up.
Okay.
That's up. This one's up. The Joe Montaldo and Melinda Leslie discussing Mill Labs. There you go, guys. Now, we started out this show with Mill Labs. You want to hear a Mill Lab conversation right here. Melinda does more talking in this one than I do, but she's a friend. I'm not hating. And go give it a try. Go take it a listen. Go see what you can.
It wasn't ongoing. Now, we all know that UFO abductions are generally a very strange and complex phenomenon.
Oh, George, you got to love his voice.
Yeah.
It's go check it out. I don't even know if this is Kevin Smith.
866. That's 1-800-921-0866.
So many
your
good
time staring to cash.
It's that's one of the reasons the field is having so much trouble, because so many of the good researchers are gone.
There's something that says RSS feed invalid. Did you see that?
There's Stephen Bissett. He's still good. Yeah, over here I did. I don't even know what that RSS feed was coming from. A different. That's a search engine for somebody. Yeah, no, people go give it a try.
Those all look like bad links too.
Content. I gotta go bring this up to date. 2000 said 1025. Anyway, we checked them out. So, anybody who likes to volunteer for website work, let me know. What's this Mill Lab case thing? Oh, look, Betty and Barney Hill's in here. Yep. So, yeah. Oh, wait. Okay. I forgot I even had this. This is the conversation between myself and Kathleen Maldron. That's what this is. So you can go read this. So you can see her answers versus mine. Okay, all this is in there. Reply to Joe Montaldo from Kathleen. See it? So anybody who wants to see who won this argument and didn't win this argument, it's right there for your own eyes. I kicked her ass, by the way. I forgot I had that on there. So there's a lot of good stuff on there. A lot of stuff that needs to be fixed, but a lot of good stuff on there. We're going to close it right now. And, oh, shit, it's 8:04, so we got to go. Yeah, but look, guys, there's a lot of good stuff there. We're always looking for new directors for iCar. We picked up a new Ohio director the other day. We're going to be looking for more directors. As far as the name goes, we probably will change the name to something prettier. But, well, the International Community for Alien Research is fine, but it's also used for for David Jacob uses it, alien abduction, I don't know, something like that. And then 2 other companies use it. One for grain and one for cars. Yeah, so we may switch it to something else, maybe a different acronym. Who knows? We're not going to worry about it right now. Right now, it's more worried about getting it up and running correctly, and then going from there. Well, it's been neglected. Daddy's been busy. Daddy's got other websites to worry about, so we have to assign somebody to it.
Yeah, being a major Pornhub star is very difficult. So it's
That's right.
props to you.
When you're out there, so you got, and then instantly it's like, hello, baby, how you doing? Anyway, we'll put that mess back up now. I didn't see that. That was just a mess that blew over my head. Heidi didn't even know I had long hair. She's all like, "Oh,
the
God,
audience
I like
was wondering, was it hair or are you wearing a cape?
Yes. Heidi's like, "Hey, baby, how you doing?" We got to get out of here, guys and girls. Michelle DeRoche will be up in about 5 minutes. We were just getting warmed up. See, that's the problem with a 2-hour show when we're doing stuff like this. We're just getting warmed up. It's we will be checking on everybody to see how everyone is doing.
Just not enough time in the day to talk about alien stuff.
Well, we get sidetracked. We get in websites. We get there's a lot of good stuff came across tonight. As you see, so now you've heard Jay and I talk about the Betty and Barney Hill case. Now you can go see the discussion. I'm not going to call it an argument. It was a discussion between myself and Kathleen Waldron. It's a really good discussion. Of course, I won this discussion, but still, you can go see for yourself and decide who you think won the discussion. I might even make it public on one of the Facebook pages. On that note, Jay, anything we got to tell them before? Oh, don't forget Friday.
News on
Jay, something about Jay's going to be naked. I'm not sure what that's about,
well,
but
I'm
going to be like this is all I know. So
it's either my first of 3 next Fridays with the Church of Mavis, or it's not. So if it's the Church of Mavis, yeah, there is a Jeffrey and I are doing a nude pole dance episode. So guest invited. They're doing it.
Kim, you mean Jeffrey Pritchard? He's always invited to come on the show. He just don't want to come talk politics with us.
He does not like politics.
No. He's a hardcore. He's a AOC liberal. Hey, Steven, how you doing? I'm afraid to get naked. I'm with you, Steven. Don't worry.
It's just a thread.
I'll be my eyes like this the whole show. I'll be going over. Is it safe yet? Is it safe?
Some of the girls are going to be like this. I can't see a thing.
Yeah, I know. No, Jeffrey's a good guy. We like Jeffrey's been a host of mine for over 10 years.
Yeah,
we don't agree on politics. Oh no, we don't agree on politics, but we agree on other stuff, just not politics.
Jeff's been
UFOs,
on 14 years, and I've been on 10
like that.
of those 14.
Yeah,
Jeff.
I know. See, that's the point I try to get across people. It's like with Jeffrey. We agree on UFOs, we agree on Bigfoot and a lot of other stuff. A lot of weird stuff. We just don't agree on politics. Mm-hmm. That's because he's crazy and I'm sane. But anyway, we still love him. I know. Oh shit, Steven getting crazy.
They're below the knee. If I was still wearing
I'm not reading no more.
I took them off already. He's not lying. One of our coworkers, Jeff Bishop, they're not related. He came up to me and he asked if I was going to yodel today at work. And I'm like, huh? And he said, well, because of your socks and the way you're in your apron, it looks like you're wearing lederhosen. And I'm like, oh!
Somebody's going to get lederhosen.
Yeah.
We're not going to say who it is. Let me see right quick and I'll tell you who is on the Outer Realm if I can find it. It's, Michelle always books her shows way early, so.
Yeah, believe usually like Jeff is a pretty good sense of humor, man. And he likes Thundercats.
Yes, Thundercats. Thundercats are always cool. Let's see.
He's the only one at work that came up to me. I have one of the water bottles, and I had the Mumra sticker, Mumra's image on it, or not his image, but his symbol. And Jeff walks by and goes, Mumra. And I'm like, how did you know that? And I've asked 20 people. No one could get it.
Yeah, well, some people have not a damn clue who Mumra is, but
Yeah, that's true.
That's just because they haven't been around long enough. Kirby, I'm in the wrong place. No, I'm actually looking to see who's on her
show. Let me see if I can get there.
I should have looked on, you know what? I should have probably looked on YouTube. Probably would have been easier.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about Dark Skies Radio. I'm thinking about moving him to Friday night. Let's see. The Outer Realm, Cole Regan Hoodoo. Paranormal Tales Inside the Pit with Maxine W. Freak. I'm sorry.
Maxine Furyk. Yeah, it's the Coal Region Hoodoo. I don't know what that is, but I have heard.
I don't want to know what Coal Region Hoodoo is. That's probably something I don't need to know about. But anyway, They'll be jumping on in just a minute, so we got to go. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to UFO Undercover, United Public Radio. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Of course, any moans, groans, bitches, or complaints, please write to Michelle because she likes that kind of stuff. I don't. What's
Tell
that,
her
Denise?
Stephen Bishop sent you.
Writing to me, unless you're writing something nice or a compliment or something good, I'm not the person to write to.
Cold hard cash.
I can be kind of mean when I want to be. But on that note, we got to go. And thank everyone again. Thank you for UFO Undercover. Be sure y'all give Jason props. He's going to be hanging out with Jeffrey. And we'll see y'all Friday night. And, well, there's so much going on. There's always something to talk about on Friday night.
Don't forget the chat Saturday.
What do you mean? Oh, no, we'll hear, y'all hear all about all of that later. On that note, good night and stay tuned for the Outer Realm with the Fabulosio, Michelle DeRochio. What do you like that DeRochio stuff? Y'all shut up. That's all I can tell you. Good night, everybody.